Welcome to another episode of Coach Factory. We're doing something a little bit different on the channel here. We are interviewing some fascinating people. We have some interviews coming up that you will not want to miss. And today is no different. Today, I'm happy to introduce to you a new friend of mine and someone you might know, someone's voice that you have definitely heard before, even if you didn't know it was him. Joel Weldon is the author of You Are the Message, but he is also a voiceover artist who has worked with brands like Carl's Jr., Ford, and so many others. He'll talk a little bit about it in this episode. You are the message. We're talking today about communication and how critically important it is to your business. I mean, coaching is the business of conversation. And if you are not honing your conversation in a way that connects with your clients, your prospects, your wider audience, you don't have a coaching business. So let's listen in my conversation with Joel Weldon. You're going to love this. And if you need contact information for Joel, that is down below. I know you're going to enjoy this conversation because I enjoyed it so much. Hey, Joel, thank you so much for joining me today. How you doing?
Kathy, this is such an honor, man. I mean, this is going to be a really interesting conversation on stuff that I love. So thank you
Yeah.
so much for having me on. It's really great.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you so much for sharing the audiobook of your book that you recorded yourself. It wasn't somebody else recording it. It was
No,
your
it
voice,
was
which
it
I
was
thought
my
was
voice. There
awesome.
was no AI involved in the recording of that. No, it's really that was just me narrating audiobooks. I've done several in the past, and I thought I've got to narrate my own audiobook. So my
For
co-author
sure.
Bob Phillips, he's totally fine. He goes, just go for it. So that's me. Yeah, very fun.
Yeah, yeah. And our friend Steve Hansen, who I work with at Motivation Code, he mentioned that once you hear Joel's voice, you'll be just, doing something in the kitchen and the TV's on, and Joel will be there because you do a lot of voiceover work as well, don't you?
It is a weird thing, you know. I started out doing music years ago, and that's how Steve and I got connected a long time ago. He's an incredible musician, by the way.
For
Um,
sure.
be sure you tell him that he's going to watch that too. But we started out doing music, and so much of how we live our lives has to do with how we hear things, how we speak things, how the music we hear. It's so emotionally connected. It was weird. All those years went by, and I thought, wow, I finally got one voiceover job in a really random way. And
Yeah.
then it just kind of took off. It was weird. So pretty soon I'm doing voices for local commercials in Washington State where I live. And then I get a hold of somebody who said, you should contact this person. And, a client said, you contact this person in Florida. And then pretty soon eventually, I'm doing really big accounts. And I'm a SAG-AFTRA voice actor, do some on screen here and there, but mostly voice. And I just can't believe I get to do this. I love it. It's so much fun. So you hear me on Ford, I'm underneath Bryan
Yeah.
Cranston. He's kind of the A-list guy. And then I'm the number two male for the US as far as, you hear me all the time. So no
Yeah.
matter where you live in the
That's
United
amazing.
States, you hear my voice a lot with Ford, Carl's Jr., Hardee's, NHL, NASCAR. It goes on and on. But I love doing it. It's really fun.
How
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
Does it catch you sometimes when you're like, you're just someplace weird and then all of a sudden a commercial comes on and it's you?
Oh yeah. Every now it was so weird. I work out at the gym. One time I work out at the gym, right? So I go to the gym and they've got, of course, a million televisions and they've got every different network on, whatever you want to watch. I'm watching in front of my, treadmill thing, go on the treadmill. Boom, there comes my Ford F-150 commercial. And I'm going, oh, that's oh my gosh, there it is right there. Then on the next TV, two TVs over after that one, maybe 10 minutes later, oh, there's Carl's Jr. Hardee's, Carl's Jr. Hardee's, boom. And it was so weird. Then after that, I did a campaign for Vasilor. It's like the ibuprofen, it's liquid in a capsule. And that came on about two other TVs the other way. That now, granted, that was a weird moment, but I went, wow. It was like how random that I'm here at the gym and I see three commercials and they're all me. That was really weird, really weird. Anyway,
I
so
bet.
and my
It's gotta
kids
be
call me
weird.
up. My older kids are calling me up. Dad, is that you doing the thing on the what? Yeah, and I'm just yeah, that's me. So it's kind of crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's wild. Oh, that is so
Really,
funny.
I'm blessed they don't see my face, right? They just hear my voice. Way better. It's way better that way. That's an old joke, but it's true. It's
Yeah,
good.
the whole
Yeah.
face for radio thing, right?
Exactly. It's so true. It's the real thing. Yeah.
Well, I am glad that you're here for a video podcast because you do have a face for video podcast.
Oh, well, wow,
I
you
think
do too, Kathy. I watched a few of your videos before, and I was like,
oh,
"Man, you're
thanks.
good at this." It's very, very cool. So it's a pleasure to be with you. It really is.
Thanks. Well, we have similar kind of backgrounds and similar interests, really. But I mean, my
Yep.
degree in college was speech communication. It was just like though when I turned 22 and graduated, I was like, who wants to listen to a 22-year-old kid talk about this stuff? I've got to learn
Well,
about business. And
I
so I
know it's
like
kind of crazy though, but it was something you were passionate about at that
for sure,
age, right? And so you kind
for
of
sure.
went down that path, and look at you now. You're using it every day, right? It's really
For
cool how
sure.
that works out. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, well, I was talking to one of our coaches recently, and he said something like, "We're in the business of conversation," and it just that's kind of been, like, sticking with me because it's like, well, convincing my 17-year-old daughter to clean a room is the business of conversation too,
Right?
you
And
know?
I really mean it, right?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I really mean it. I know what it's like. It's weird. The reason so much of the book came about was, do you want to hear the story about the book, how it
Yeah,
came
for
about?
sure.
Okay. So the book, I happen to have a copy right here. Okay. You Are the
Yeah.
Message. The book really began right during COVID. A lot of weird stuff happened during COVID, right? We all know that. It was kind of like this weird black hole of time, in our history. And you go, "Oh, that was during COVID," right? And the schools are out and everything else. And I'd been teaching voice acting in Hollywood, Burbank, Los Angeles area, Tustin, for several years. I'd go there once a week and I would teach 10 students or less at a typical studio, Mark
Yeah.
Crow in Burbank or whatever. And I would teach this class in the evening. And that happened for years. Well, then COVID came
Right.
and all of a sudden everything shuts down. Here in LA and Southern Cal, where we live, all the studios just locked up. And there was
Yeah.
like, if you didn't have a setup at home, a microphone and the ability to do voice work, and a lot of people didn't. They were so used to going into studios all the time. So at that time, I had people reach out to me and go, "Hey, are you still teaching classes? I'm working from home now, and I thought it'd be fun to take one of your classes. So let's do it over Zoom." Oh, well, we did it over Zoom, and then it just grew and grew. And so pretty soon, I've run almost 1,000 students through voice acting classes over Zoom since that
Wow.
time, and it just took off, and people wanted more and more. So COVID hits, college students are not going to class, and two grandsons of a friend of mine took my classes. They took level 1, 4 weeks. They took level 2. That was another 6 weeks. So it's like 12 to 13 weeks. And they're thriving in the classes. Now, voice acting is a tough craft to make a living, right? But people are still, they want to try it and they want to immerse themselves in this whole world that they've dreamed of. They grew up with it, cartoons, all the stuff. So it's really fascinating to them. So they'll take the class, a lot of them never intending to really be a voice actor. Yeah,
Mhm.
they're interested. If it happens, great. But the thing that happened was people tend to, they get challenged in ways they never have before. And this is what happened to a couple of these students, these grandsons. So their grandfather, this friend of mine, Bob Phillips, um, he had heard about this from his grandsons. And they aren't the only ones. This happened to a lot of different students, especially the younger ones and young adults. And he said, "We need to write a book about what you do and how this affects people." And I'm like, "Nah, I'm a voice actor. I'm a musician guy. I don't want to write a book." And he goes, "No, no, this is really, really powerful stuff." Now, Bob Phillips is also an incredible communicator. He has trained people at the FBI, Quantico, military, executives, military generals around the world, yeah, on ethics and all kinds of stuff. He's presented to thousands of people. So we combined our efforts, and Bob said, he's written a whole bunch of books, bestseller, New York Times bestseller. And he goes, "I'll help you write the book." So we started writing chapters. We passed them back and forth. And that's how the book came about. We refined it
Yeah.
to we both felt there was continuity. It was everything we had dreamed about, we wish we had when we
Yeah.
started speaking years ago, right? That's how the book came about. And it's just been such a blast to see what's happened with it. I mean, when it hit Amazon, it turned into a, was what they call it, top new release,
Yeah.
for 30 days. I'm thinking, well, I'm just a musician. I'm a voice guy, but the stuff in here will really change lives. It's really cool. So I'm having a blast doing it, Kathy.
That's so great. That is so awesome. There were so many, like, so many insights that y now I got trained when I was very young in
Yeah,
speech
yeah.
communication, but there's so many things that I just, like, take for granted that people just know about intonation and pitch and just, like, how their voice comes across that I'm like, "No, you know it because intuitively you were just kind of brought up in all of this, but there's tons of people who have no idea. And the fact that people are talking to screens and that they're so dissociated over the
Oh,
past 4 years, people, a lot of younger people, they, they have to learn this
oh,
because
yeah.
it's not something that they could have intuitively pick up on, and even in many ways, people just don't intuitively understand these types of things. So, can you walk through, like, some of those things in terms of, like, how people use their voice and their presence and how important that is?
Yeah. Okay. So let's take everyone's personal history. Okay.
Yeah.
We each have a place we grew up. We were talking a little bit about that before we hit the record button. A place that we grew up. Now I was in northern Minnesota, little farm town, you know, 800 people. And oh, for sure. Oh yeah, for funny. Remember the movie Fargo? That was me.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Joel. Well, hi mom, how you doing? It's like, well, you talk like this because the rest of your face is so frozen. It's like, okay, it's really cool. You
For
talk like that
sure.
in Minnesota. Oh, hello. And my mom will go, oh, hello, Joel. How are you? Oh, hi, honey. It's like it's just, but that's an accent in Minnesota, right? I've since
Yeah.
lost that. But I go back and I fall into it again. But
Do
what
you?
did I do? I mirrored what I heard growing up. It was my parents first, my family. Pretty soon I'm listening to people, my teachers talking in class, my friends. So I'm learning from them. If you grew up in Georgia or the deep south, Mississippi, Alabama, oh, that's a whole different way of speaking down there
Yeah.
because it's really hot and humid. So they kind of linger on with the words. But I'm just joking, obviously. But there's an accent you grew up with.
Yeah.
If it's in California, it tends to be fairly neutral,
Mhm.
except surfer dude, man. It's like whatever, bro. It's like you might pick that up, but
Yeah.
then you're going to learn that as you grow into your adult years.
Did you have a culture shock when you first moved from Minnesota to
Oh,
California?
oh yeah. I go to the Mexican restaurant. What's a quesadilla? You know, oh, that's what it is, eh? It was like we were so close to Canada that it may as well have been kind of Canadian synonymous, but it was really funny. Anyway, so yeah, it was a culture shock for sure, but I really loved it. I love the ocean.
Yeah,
I loved it. I've stayed here. We still live here,
yeah,
close to San Diego. We love it down here. Um, but back to your voice, you grew up mirroring or listening, and that's kind of the voice you have. Now, there's
yeah,
nothing wrong with accents. The accents are just a part of life, the geography and how we grew up. And then you might expand beyond the accented voice. You might, change it up a little bit as time goes on. But this is the one thing that I've realized, especially in the voice acting craft and teaching it.
yeah,
A lot of people, when you hit your early 20s, you might be 20, 23, 24. You you assume that you are who you are. And you have other people telling me, "Well, you're kind of an introvert, aren't you?" And you might take a couple personality tests, you know? For me, it was like, MMPA, it was like the Enneagram. I was
mm,
fascinated with that stuff years ago. And the same with many of us, we might take a little test. And the thing that is kind of weird about all of us is that our voices is one of the most key elements to express personality.
Yeah.
It's your voice. I mean, Kathy, listen to your voice. Your voice is so fun and natural. And, even when you smile, you hear that in your voice. You hear that joy inside, and you hear the love for life and people, because you radiate that with your voice. It's kind of natural for you. For
Yeah.
not for a lot of people, it's not natural, right? So
Sure.
all those elements, then a lot of people let that lock them in. And it's like if somebody called you an introvert and you took a little personality test and it said you tend to be more of you're an introvert, and might be a little bit of a driver, but you don't like to talk in front of people. You don't like to talk in general. Well, then you're going to carry that forward. And I see it over and over again. And the
Mm,
thing you brought up with the tech world, the way tech is nowadays, it's a two-dimensional screen, and it's
yeah.
taking over so much of our dopamine world, right?
Oh,
And it's
for sure.
scary. It's scary.
For sure. For sure. Yeah. Especially the short form content that just is like
Oh,
the scroll. I think it's really affecting the way people connect, because they expect that same kind of dopamine hit from sitting across the table from someone having dinner. And it's just like, those dopamine hits in natural language and conversation were much rarer when we were younger, and now this generation is expecting it, every 30
yeah,
seconds, and it just doesn't work that way.
exactly. So can I tell you what then happened, even with the book? When I was teaching these people, especially the young people, I realized that when I started giving them reasons to be someone else in the voice acting craft, I would hand them a script, and there would be direction. There might be a description of a character, maybe an animated character. It might be super energetic, kind of nervous, and really, really, frenetic all the time. And so, if I give them a script for that, and there's a young lady in the class who has never done that or ever felt anything like that, well, then they have reason to go back to their childhood and go, gosh, I was excited about this at a certain point. Maybe I should kind of act like that. And then they begin to go into this character. And what was weird was it just started expanding their horizons. And that's
Yeah.
the thing that Bob wanted to capture in the book, was what it did for my grandsons and other young people that have taken the courses. I want people to understand and know that, so they can expand their own ability. And they would start feeling like, maybe I'm not such an introvert. Maybe I have some of these other elements that I've just never explored before. And it's almost like there's an element of personal development or therapy there. It's kind of
For
weird.
sure.
And that's
Yeah.
where, even when I look at M code, and the reason Steve obviously talked about M code with me early on, and I went, oh, it's fascinating,
Yeah.
because I love taking the tests, right? We all
Yeah.
kind of like taking the tests about, who am I? I want to discover more about myself. I want to know myself better, right?
Yeah.
To thine own self be true. It's like you want to have these things where you understand more about who you are, who you were
Sure.
created to be. And I think that's really, really key, so that I can understand where I'm at. But now,
Yeah.
if there's elements that I haven't gone before, then by all means, you need to stretch into those, try them out, see what it's like to be more expressive. Go
Yeah.
into a different character when you've had a moment where you've been with your friends in the back room and you're laughing hysterically and it's just crazy. Well, try that at a coffee shop sometime with a friend. Normally you wouldn't do it if you're like, oh, I don't do that there, right?
Yeah.
But expand a little bit. And the other thing, if you talk too much like I do and you're too loud, if you talk all the time and you're too loud, well, then back it off and let the other person talk a little bit. So, Kathy, now it's your turn. Go for it.
Well, I'm curious. You took M code. I'm curious, two things.
Yep.
First, what are your primary dimensions, like the
Okay,
first
mine
ones?
mine is
Yeah, and
achiever,
then
number one. Yeah,
achiever. Yeah.
achiever.
Okay.
Number two is driver. I tend to
Okay.
be a driver, and then the other one's a relator.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, a relator. So those three,
Interesting.
and I thought that was kind of interesting combinations. And I'll have to say, I know this is the M Code podcast, but in absolute transparency, of all the the personality tests I've taken, this one by far is the most detailed, and I would say it's by far the most accurate when it
Yeah.
comes to describing individuals. And I'm like, this is a gift. I mean, obviously, you serve a lot of people in HR, right? In human resources, employable kind of stuff. But this is a gift. It's a gift for those that take it, and it's a gift for those who use it to find out more about people and their
Or
employable.
who have a partner or teammates that also take it, and then you get to know, oh, well, that this is how this other person, this is their frame on the world. This is how they
Yep.
see things. This is how
Yep.
they're motivated. This is how they work. And so it gives, I think, especially in those kinds of contexts, like if you know what your spouse's M code is, and you have
Yeah,
something that
exactly.
the garbage needs to go out, for example, and we want this to be a pleasant experience rather than a, "Why aren't you taking the garbage out?"
Exactly.
You just
Exactly.
tune into their
Because
motivations.
because
It's much
Joel is
easier.
gonna hear that. Joel is gonna hear that very differently if my wife Debbie says it a certain way. "Honey,
Yeah,
have you seen all the garbage around the house recently? Is there a way you could take care of some of that possibly or whatever?" I'm
yeah,
gonna I'm gonna respond a lot better, right? But it's true. I think the whole thing, we learn more about ourselves and who we're not, right?
yeah.
In some
Oh,
of the
for sure.
negatives part of it, which is good too. Sometimes though, there's parts of us that we go, I really don't like that about myself, but I know that life is a story of change. And in the same way the M code tells me who I am now, tomorrow gives me the ability to stretch. And the day
Yeah,
after that, stretch a little bit more and start growing in areas I never thought I could. And then you're like, you get to the point where you're 45, 50 years old and you go, life is good. I love what I do now. I
yeah,
love who I've been able to become and grow into. And I think that's the key to even the book and stuff. I go, the book to me was a big part of that. It's like you want to grow into all that God has made you to be, right? And as a believer, I'm a Jesus follower person,
yeah,
man of faith. And for
yeah,
me, I think God has a path for each of us in so many different ways. And there's ways to get there with methodology, with little tricks and little exercises that kind of expand your horizons.
yeah. Well, knowing thyself, right? Knowing
Yeah.
yourself and helps you know that path so much better.
Oh,
Uh,
big time.
like one of the things that MCO did for me was allowed me to let go of things, and my
Mhm.
my life has been somewhat complicated in that I am a visionary.
Mhm.
It's my primary, and then next one is influencer, and then achiever. But so all of these like make a dent in the world and get out there and
Yeah.
purpose driven types of things and seeing the future and all of the possibilities and everything. So I'm supporting my husband in his work. Well, he's also all of that stuff, but he doesn't like doing the accounting or the customer support, like
Yeah.
all of
Yeah.
those things. So I did all of those things that are very low on my motivations, but I did them for the higher purpose because I believed in his business, right?
Mhm.
But I
Yep.
carried those, well, I can do all of these things. I can deal with the IRS and all of that stuff. I can deal with all
No,
these things
no,
that are
please
not
no.
good.
Oh my
They,
gosh.
they fit none of my motivations, but I can do all of them for a higher purpose. But
Mhm.
after like not working with him anymore and like having to like live in a Asana and project management stuff, I could do all of it, but it what for a higher purpose. But
Right.
M code helped me let go of that. All of the stuff that I
Yeah.
used to do because I had to for the higher purpose. And now I'm
Mhm.
just like, oh, other people really love that stuff. They love to live in Asana. Let them. Let me go
Yep.
be the visionary with the ideas and the inspiration and the influence and let's go make big things happen. And I get to own all of that the way God created me
Yeah.
rather than fitting myself into this box because somebody needs to do it.
Yeah.
There's other people who love that. Oh my gosh, I love them so much. Let's let
Yeah.
them.
Yep. Yep. The other thing that kind of brings to mind is, when, especially in the context of work, right? When you're trying to, produce something or work at something and accomplish something as a team. Um, when the M code thing came around, I was like, this is a great way for people to not only understand themselves, but like you said, understand each other to the
Yeah.
point where you go, okay, you're really good at this. And, I think this would be great if you took the lead on this because that's kind of your field. And then we're going to support you in other ways. It just brings a real, a unity among the purpose of what you're trying to accomplish. And it brings this unity of the team that is oftentimes overlooked, or you don't even know that the potential is there until you look into the detail of how we're all wired.
Right.
I
Right.
love that part of it a lot. Really, really cool.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, for sure. How do you see M code um help people really kind of claim their message and their purpose? Like, because a lot of the people we are working with are coaches in a
mhm.
lot of cases. They're people who are helping other people, or they're getting up on and one of the things that I'm always telling coaches is like, you want to grow your coaching business, you got to get up on stage. You got to get out there and speak. They've got to get to know who you
Oh,
are. That's
absolutely.
because that's what it's all about. That's, like,
Yeah.
the number one way for, like, any business to start growing is to really, like, put your message out there. How do you see M Code and your message in You Are the Message, how do you see these work together?
Okay, so with M code, obviously you're analyzing what is. You're analyzing what is in the way that we're built, the way we're wired. But even in that analysis, okay, even in that analysis, taking the code, the code test. Um, Once you take that test, even getting back the responses and all the results, it's stuff that many of us have never even heard of. And you go, "Oh my word, what a cool little insight on who I am, on my life. I never knew that before."
Yeah,
So suddenly I'm learning things from the inside, from who I am. Remember the movie Inside Out? You know what I mean? All about
yeah,
the emotional context and all this, how and all these different characters. Well, all of those people, all those little characters, they live within us. Some are very small and very tiny. Some are really big and really pronounced. Um, but the way I tell my students are, okay, so M Code told you this. You learned a lot about yourself and you learned about what you're not. But now you actually have ways to put meaning to all those things that they were all kind of obscure for you in the past. Now there's clarity there you never had before.
yeah,
And the thing I tell people, I said, okay, so on the Enneagram, for example, Enneagram is one of those, it's 9 points.
yeah,
You've got all these different things on an Enneagram. If you don't know what it is, don't know what it is, you can look it up. Um, but it's been around for ages, centuries. The Enneagram has all these different things on there. And I go, okay, so you are a driver or you're a peacemaker. You might have all these different characters, but you might be two or three of them on this part of the chart. And that's kind of your zone, right? But the reality is in life, you're a little bit of all of them
mm,
in the right context with the right people.
yeah,
You know what I mean? There's a little bit of you in each one of those, a little bit of those in each one of us. And I go, I want to experiment with that a little bit. And that's where you're talking about coaches getting on a platform. If they don't learn what it is to be an authority with their voice, a coach, and also to have empathy with their students and the people they're teaching with their voice, because you don't have time to sit and get to know everybody and create a relationship with them. They're seeing you on a platform, on a screen, during a Zoom call. You have to be able to you have to be able to endear them with your presence, with your words and how those words are spoken. And a lot of people don't realize it's not about the words you choose. Yes, it's about the words you choose. It's how you deliver the words you choose. If I said, I love you, that's different than I love you. I love you. Okay, so three different ways. What am I doing? I'm creating a very different message for each of them, the way I emphasize a certain word. Now, if you start doing that over and over again, you start practicing how that works. And you have to practice, you got to work it. You'll start to expand into areas and go, oh, it became kind of automatic that time. Wow,
mhm,
cool. You know, this friend of mine, he said, confidence is built on past success. So once you start having one little success, it'll start growing. You start building it up. was Paul Reddick. He's a friend of mine. He said, confidence is built on a foundation of past success. So you start one brick at a time, and then pretty soon you get better and better at it. And pretty
Yeah.
soon, the coaching you've wanted to invest in other people and watch them thrive, it starts to come true. And you're going, wow, my dream is actually happening. The things I was hoping for my students, for my clients, now it's happening. Wow. It's like your whole life opens up. Your purpose becomes solidified, all that stuff.
Mhm.
I'm sorry I'm talking too much, but yeah, it's really
No,
huge.
no,
Huge.
I think it's important because I also just the more you're yourself, the more you put that energy of self out into the world, I feel I've noticed the more that I find my comfort and confidence in expressing 100% myself. It's like what gets reflected back to me is much more suited to me and my progression forward, if you know
Yep.
what I mean. It's like your
Yep.
path doesn't open up of like where it is that you're supposed to go in your purpose until you start expressing that sense of self where I know who I am. I know what lights me up. I know what I'm good at. And so I'm gonna just do it. I'm just,
Yep.
sort of like a screw it. Like I'm just gonna do
Yeah.
it. And
Yeah.
it's just like everything's just like it's almost like God is responding to you that, yeah, that's it. That's what
Yep.
I've made
That's
you to
it.
do.
Exactly.
And it's
And
like your
even
world gets open.
even though I'm not perfect, and Kathy's not perfect, and you're not perfect if you're watching today, you're not perfect either. But you know what? All that imperfection, when you're doing it for the right reasons, it doesn't matter. Suddenly
Yeah.
it's like people watch what you're doing, watch what you're coaching, watch what you're teaching, and they go, "Oh my word, that's for me." And I want to apply that to my life. And suddenly you've succeeded as a coach. You've succeeded as a leader, right?
Mhm.
The one thing that I put in the book because it was really profound for me, and I taught this to my students over the years, is when you're on the platform, even if it's in a platform of you're leading three people, you're the head of a meeting, you're on the
Uh-huh.
platform. Okay? Could be 3,000 people. But when you're on the platform, the number one thing you have to get rid of the whole, I call it the bully monster, right? The bully monster in the book is like, oh, you can't do this. You're not good enough. Some people call it the imposter syndrome. It's
Yeah.
always some new, cliche, but it's real. And you feel that inadequacy, and suddenly you feel like your legs are just being taken right out from underneath you because I'm not worthy. I'm not good enough. Right. So the bully monster keeps talking. Yeah, you're not good enough. Now, the one thing that I found that really helps conquer that number one thing is your mission. And it's in the book here too. Your mission has to be greater than me. Okay.
Mhm.
If you call it an equation, it's like mission, all caps, and then a greater sign, and me is in lowercase. Okay.
Yeah.
In other words, me, I'm still part of the equation.
Yeah.
It's not without me. Yeah, I'm still there. But my mission is way more important than what people think of me, than whether people are, liking what I say, whether I'm really worthy to be up there because I don't know everything. Oh man, all that goes away when suddenly you
Mhm.
realize I want them to get this. And
Yeah.
that's going to drive me beyond all my little insecurities and inadequacies.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah, I think a lot of people it's very natural for us to compare ourselves to other people, and in
Oh,
that
totally.
way, we'll never be perfect. But
Yep.
when you strive to understand your mission and you realize that you are one of one in that situation, when
Yep.
you have a clear mission, that there's no comparison, there's nothing to compare yourself to, there's no imperfection because the mission is so wholly a part of how you were created.
Yep.
So
Exactly.
there's no it just kind of I feel like it just falls away. All of we just society trains us so much to compare ourselves, it's like, oh well, Johnny
Oh,
got a B and you got an A,
oh,
and all of this comparison and all of this judgment and so we start doing
yeah.
it to ourselves.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was on the speech I remember towards the end of being on the speech team in college, and I was just like, why am I letting other people I'm letting other people, a judge, tell me like where I fit here. And it's
There
just
you
like,
go. And there's judgment, right? Judgment. It's
yeah,
like, oh, what a
yeah.
drag, you know?
I'm like,
It
I'm
oh,
I'm being the best me that I can be. And it's just like this game is just now. I think I was at the point of like, okay, I'm done with this. But it's just like society trains us to do this and to judge ourselves and to try to fit square pegs into round holes and not really fully like express who we are. And I love your message because it's all about like just getting in tune to, you don't have to go, copy the best internet marketer. You don't have to go copy the best actor or musician or whatever. You learn all of those things so that you can then bring it home to the soup of who you are, right?
right, right. And one thing a friend of mine told me years ago, he's good. If people sense that you care, like even on a platform, if you're giving a performance or you're giving a TED talk or whatever, if they sense that you care, you could use a whole ton of filler words, well, and then and then blah blah blah. It may not be a perfect delivery, but if that sense of caring for your audience comes through, it
Oh
may
yeah.
not happen for everybody in the room, but if it happens for one, right? If it happens for one, if there's one life-changing moment out there for one person, then I go, you know what? Really, it was worth it. It was worth it.
Yeah.
Was it perfect
Yeah.
for everybody? No. But one or two or three or five, 10, they walked away richer. They walked away with a sense of empowerment,
Yeah.
because you were there and you delivered something to them. That's huge. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
For sure.
yeah.
That is so good.
I
So
I
good.
get
So
impassioned by this stuff. Sometimes I go, oh my word, it's like I love this stuff so much. And I can tell you do too, Kathy. You're right in your zone. It's really cool. Really cool.
oh, this is it. I mean, my personal podcast is a play off of my last name, Zantastic. It's my last
Yeah,
name is
I
Zant, of
saw that's
course,
so
and
cool.
Zantastic
I love it.
because
I love it.
it's all about like what makes you fantastic, and it's like just
Yep.
diving into more of who you are and stop comparing yourself. So it's all this
Yeah.
kind of stuff, and
Yeah.
it's really about getting clarity about who you are. Who are you
Yep.
that makes you uniquely you, because that is your niche. That is what makes you one of one. That is what gives you so much purpose in the world, and it's what makes you recognizable. It makes your mission and the work that you do just there's just like no comparison. There's been, certain people out there that it's just like they've made their mark. I've been really into like listening to lots of music lately, and there's some artists that it's just like, okay, they listen to a little bit of David Bowie and it inspires them to create something else. It's not copying David Bowie, but it's just like it
Right.
brings out something within them. And I'm really kind of in this mode right now of like studying musicians and their unique sounds, and also like listening to their interviews of like how they're inspired. But I'm like, I didn't really hear David Bowie in that song, even though it
Yeah,
was
no,
inspired,
that
because it
that
was
you said
100%
that was
them.
David Bowie's influence? I didn't know that's news to me.
Yeah,
There's
like how
one
did
artist
that?
I gotta say, there's one artist I really dig right now, and it's,
Yeah.
Steven Wilson Jr. He is
Okay.
a country guy, kinda country rock dude. He grew up on a lot of,
Okay.
kinda sub pop records, the kind of the grunge thing, but he's a country guy, Steven Wilson Jr., mind blowing. His lyrics are great. As a musician, songwriter for many years, I love a creative twist on things like that,
Yeah.
And he's just himself. And that's what we're talking about. He's himself, but he keeps getting better and better. And I love that. Watching his career just take off. It's really fun. Really
Oh,
fun.
that's awesome. I'll have to listen to some of that. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been like super interested in like Rick Rubin's podcast all about creativity and the
Yeah.
artists and just like the creative way of but I don't feel like it's just for artists. I feel like it's for the lessons are for all of us, because
Yep.
each one of us, whether you're working a job, a W-2 job, or you're running your own business, or you're working on a movie, or you're working on just anything, whatever you're doing, it's all about bringing that we are creators made
Yep.
in the image of the creator, right? And
Yeah.
that's what we're
Exactly.
supposed to be doing in everything that we do. We're supposed to bring that spirit, that 100% of who we are into everything.
Yep.
So yeah, just creativity, I think, is such a good thing to study for people who are
Oh,
looking to
yeah.
really find their voice.
Well, and experiment with stuff that you're interested in. Some people go, I'm not creative. Well, here's some news for you. If you can assemble a sentence where there wasn't one, choose
Yeah.
the words, you just created something. It's as simple as that. Don't ever say that you're not creative. You are. You're creative. You choose when to speak, what to say. You have been given the gift of being human. And like you said, we're reflecting our creator in who we are. We create as well. And I love that
Yeah.
part of it. So don't ever say that you're not a creator. You are. You just have to like start feeding it, start, you know,
Yeah.
encouraging that, start cultivating that. It's really huge. And
It,
it'll make your life so much richer and fulfilling. It's awesome. It really is.
oh, for sure. For sure. And there's this whole philosophy of the creativity faucet. Like if you don't feel like you're creative, you have to be, it's kind of like a faucet when you turn it on and it hasn't been running for a while.
Yep.
There's like dirty water at first and you're just like, I
Yeah.
hate all of this. I'm not creative. But you have
Yeah.
to like let it flow. It's like the first few things that are going to come out are not going to be your best work. But if it doesn't
Right.
come out, the rest of the water can't come out either. So you have to like get comfortable with that imperfection and the it not being ideal so that you can
Yeah.
let
Yeah.
the flow happen.
Yep.
I just think just like being that whole idea of being comfortable with uncertainty or
Yeah.
comfortable allowing discomfort to be there because comfort zones kill. If you stay in the comfort zone, that's you're dying
Well,
because
and
you're
it's
not.
really, yeah, exactly. And I tell my students, I go, this isn't in the book, but I tell my students, I go, YCBDT. Okay. Little acronym, YCBDT. You could be dead tomorrow. Okay.
Mm,
It's a weird thing to think about. But every day I want to wake up and go, all right, I've been given a gift today.
yes.
It's a container. It contains 1 day's worth of time. What am I going to do with it? Because YCBDT, I want to make the most of it. Shouldn't I make the most of today because it's been given as a gift to me? Yes, I should. Do I want to live through the next 365 containers not having maximized what was capable from my life? And I go, I don't want to live that way. I want to
Yeah.
be the best I can be. And so that's,
What's the best way of doing that? What would you tell somebody who is struggling right now?
you know what it'd be? I would say for me personally, you have to kind of engage others, right? If you're a person of faith, then it ends up being prayer. You know, you need to pray. Say, God, you gave me this life. Show me some things that I need to change, right? So you could do that. If you're not a person of faith, wherever it is you land, you have to have an explanation for why you're alive. Okay. And
Yeah.
there is something magical and wonderful about that. For me, it's like I acknowledge to me that I have been given a life by God, a creator. For you, whatever it is for you, and there's all of you are watching this thing. Um, you need to get out of that zone of being kind of limited. You don't sit around in the house when you get up, go out, move your arms around, right? I like to go out and run the dogs, or like 2 dogs. I like to move around and I open my arms and I move and I make funny noises with my voice because I'm going to do a Ford commercial in another hour. So I'm going, boo! And the neighbors think I'm a freak. They do. They think I'm a freak, but I don't care. I'm out there. I'm going, this is life. I've been given this day. I'm going to make the most of it. I'm going to make the best of it. And God help me to do that. And you know what? You'll start to see things happen. People will start to enter into conversations with you. And then don't just go, that's weird. No, enter into conversation. One of the challenges during COVID and beyond was I'm going to go to the grocery store and I'm not going to be the weirdo. But when I'm standing in line, I'm just going to say, so how's it going? You doing good to some stranger? I'm going to strike up a conversation or, wow, that's a cool hat. Whatever it is, it's amazing when you open a conversation with somebody and you care about them. Some people will look at you funny and go, what the hell are you doing? You know, and then some people are going to go, oh, you know what? Well, I'm doing here, doing this and that. So you just don't know, but be open to just loving on people. It'll
Yeah.
change your life. It really will, you know?
Yeah. It's almost like you bring from what I'm just intuiting, like there's almost this playful spirit that you bring. Like
Yep.
there's a childlike wonderment, playfulness that you're
Yep.
bringing to like really almost mundane experiences.
Yeah. That's a great way to put it. And if
I
I
love
and if
it.
I can see the world that way and go, wow, what am I going to see different today? What am I going to learn different today?
Yeah.
I always say, this side of heaven, right? This side of heaven, I'm going to make the most of every day I've got, and I don't want to miss anything. I don't want to miss it. If it's there for me, I want to grab it. I want to go with it. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm here talking about my book and stuff. And you guys, if you want to check out the book, obviously I'd love to have you do that. But more than that, be involved with the people that you're at. If you're with a family, love on your family, love on your friends, have
Yeah.
interesting conversations about deep stuff because nobody does anymore.
Yeah.
It's like you sit there on your phone and we're all so addicted to the dopamine rush on this. There is nothing like, and even this is a two-dimensional screen, right? But there's nothing like being in person with somebody, having a conversation, sitting down, talking. So what's going on with your life, man? And they give you a couple little, little tiny things. Well, tell me more. Let's go a little deeper. And some people, they're not comfortable with that. That's okay, but they might be tomorrow. You just
Mhm.
don't. So just add life to the world. Add life to the people around you.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
bring your presence. And I'll
Yep.
just say that if you are listening or watching here on YouTube, uh, get the audiobook because it is so good, and it's Joel, and, like, my
Uh,
friend Steve Hansen at Motivation Code told me, like, after you listen to it, you're gonna be watching TV, and it's like, "Oh, there's Joel. There's
it,
Joel. He's everywhere. Oh my gosh." So
it,
I highly recommend the audio
wow.
version on Audible. That's how I listened to the book while I was
Yeah.
and it's so portable. You just have it on your phone
Oh,
and you just
totally.
run
Yeah.
around doing other things, but it's such an easy listen because you have so many the thing I love about it is you have very important points in it um that really help me like think about my own communication because I
Mm,
mean it's been part of my life from a very young age. I
yeah.
was a lector at church when I was 11. I was always
Yeah.
communicating, and I just intuitively like picked up so many things that all of a sudden I'm like hearing you say things and I'm just like, well, I know this, but how do I know it? So it really
Right.
helped me kind of like learn more about how I communicate. And I have considered myself a communicator, but it added more texture to my understanding of how I communicate.
Yeah.
And I'm still listening to it. I haven't gotten through all of it yet, but it's such an easy listen. And the other thing I want to say about it is the stories. You have so many
Uh,
stories that just drive points home, and I learn from stories. I know a lot of people you remember the stories,
yeah.
and I wanted to ask you of all of the stories because there's so many of them. Which one was like most impactful to you?
Wow. Of the stories that I shared in there that we shared, that's a really good question. That's a really good question. I would say for me, probably one of the stories was uh, looking back, right? Looking back, I would say the one where her name is Elise.
Yeah,
I named her Elise, but I didn't share her name. And she's actually she's an actor, and she took my class, and she was like she became a different person. And for her, it was very pronounced, right? For some, it's not. Some go into voice acting like, "Hey, I'm ready to learn voice acting." They're willing to do whatever. But for her, the acting part was this other part of her life, but it wasn't her. And suddenly, as we started experimenting with different emotions and attitudes and how you say things and how you wrap, we talked about a little earlier, how you wrap the words that you're going to say. It's the difference between delivering a fact or delivering concern or excitement in the words. There's all sorts of ways you can wrap the same words. And I saw it in her life and I went, oh my word. And then I got this amazing letter from her at the end. And I was like, that's why I do what I do. For all of you that are coaches, same thing. That's why you do what you do because you see it work and you go, I had I had a good thing happen in somebody else's life because I was willing to step out of my comfort zone into an area I thought I'm just hoping somebody could grab this. And she grabbed it and ran with it. And it was just really exciting. I mean, there's a lot of stories. I've trained a lot of people for interviews on TV, a lot
Yeah.
of NDAs that are signed, and you want to do some coaching. Yeah, I'm good at coaching you, but it's how I make a living too. So,
Yeah.
but man, I'll tell you, some of those transformations, like you said, when you understand why does it work that way? How does it work? Suddenly you go, I have a brand new tool in my tool belt and I can pull it out and use it. Wow, it really
Yeah.
worked.
Yeah.
So that the story of Elise there was a really good one. There's a whole bunch of them in there though, you
There
know.
are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really
Yeah.
fun to watch people come full circle with the book and go, man, I love this thing. Can you answer this question for me and tell me this? And I love having, a little Q&A back and forth with stuff. You can always reach out to me and I would love to be able to engage with you, too. Anybody out there. So it's really
And we're
cool.
going to we'll put links in the description box on YouTube
Yeah.
down below so
Great.
people can just click through. But for those who are listening, how can they find you?
So if you want to go, you follow me on Instagram. I'm just Joel Weldon official at Instagram.
Okay.
That's an easy one that everybody can go to. If I would encourage you, it's a free resource that I offer to everybody, and there's no commitment whatsoever. Yes, there's information about other classes and training, but if you go to gift.empoweryourplatform.com, just go to that link there and download this free PDF. And it's got a little bit of a question survey about your voice quality. It's going to ask you a bunch of questions. And then it's going to come back with, in the same way, an M code, not quite, this is a little more tactile, but it's going to give you an idea of the strength or the weakness of certain parts of your voice, which to me is really valuable. You're going to gain an understanding through some of the information. It's like irrelevant to irresistible. 3 voice tricks. So they're really simple, easy to assimilate and apply right away. And you're going to start to go, wow, that really worked. Some of that stuff, I'm telling you, if I can put it in a simple method and somebody can grab it and go, I've succeeded. And that's what the book's about, really.
Yeah.
It's really, really fun. There's one more thing. Do you want to hear one more thing? You
Yes,
can
I
try
do.
this right away. Okay, all of you can try this way. It's called the C4 method. And especially for you coaches, okay, C4 method. It has to do with the dynamics of your voice, how you project your voice when you have a conversation or a presentation. There's 4 different C's. C1 is going to be confidential voice. That's where you and I are having a conversation nobody else needs to hear. This is just for you. I'm doing it with my voice right now. It's just backing it way down.
Yeah.
If you're going to do a call to action with one person, this is it. Look them in the eye. And C1, confidential. Nobody else hears. Now let's go to C2. C2 is conversational voice. That's where Katie, you and I are having a cup of coffee. We're on a Zoom call, but we're just yucking it up. We're just talking about life. We're sharing each other's, what's going on, what's your family situation, what happened to you last week. We don't care if somebody else hears. Who cares? We're in a coffee shop. We're just talking about life, right? C2, conversational, real life. Now C3, for all you coaches, it's called the coach voice. That's where you're the authority. You learn to drop your voice down a little bit. You end your phrases with strength. You don't end them like this. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because every time I do this, it makes me feel like I'm asking a question. It's not necessarily true. Okay, you got to get rid of that. End your lines down. You have a little bit more punctuation to your voice. It sounds a little more authoritative. And it's not because of you with the authority. It's the truth. This is the truth. So I want you to get the truth. Okay. That's C3. Go to C4. One more. Here we go. C4. Compelling. That is where I am all in. And this could be a life and death situation. At that point, the listener feels urgency, right? They're going to feel like, oh my gosh. And then you just leave it and you hang with silence. Life and death situation. There you go.
I
C4.
hear it.
So if
Yeah.
you do all 4 of those and you learn to you use them all in a talk. You be yourself, but what does each one of those look like and sound like for you? man,
Yeah,
suddenly you become magnetic, you become
for
irresistible, and
sure.
people are all in and they're waiting on every word. So there you go.
For
That's a
sure.
Joelism right there.
That is so, so good because I can think back, I've done a lot of public speaking and I can think back on certain talks and I've done a little of that intuitively, like,
Mhm.
a call to
Yep.
action at the end of the speech, getting compelling. But I think just those 4 C's gives me a new way of thinking about how to structure a talk strategically and how I
Yep.
communicate. And I can't wait to play with that because
That's good.
now it's just like, got the notes, I've got
Yep.
them
Yep.
down, but now I
Yeah.
need to I really wanna play with this. That is so insightful, so thank you. I know this is gonna help so many people,
Yeah.
so thank
Well,
you.
I'm excited. Thank you so much. Kathy, you've been, gosh, not worthy. You're really so good at this. And I'm just
I
honored
didn't
to be.
even use any of my questions.
No, that's
Like,
true. We didn't
I
even talk.
just
That's because
just hung
I
with
talk too
you,
much.
like, this was just
I
didn't use
talk
a
way too
single
much.
one because it was just like you were just so
Uh,
engaging and you just made my mind think through this entire thing.
mm,
So, this has just been such an engaging conversation. It really helped me think about myself in so many different ways. So I know
mm,
that this is going to be valuable for other people. So
very,
thank you
very
for being
cool.
here, Joel.
Oh, it's so good to be with you. Yeah, thank you. It really is an honor and a privilege. And for everybody watching, God bless you and thank you for your time and listening to it. It's really cool. Really an honor.
Amazing.
So,
Thank you so much, Joel. And we will talk to you next time.
okay, very good. Bye, everybody.